Now let's quickly cut across here to Kanimoyi, Tamil Nadu, Tuticorin MP there, who was asked by a CISF personnel whether she is Indian because she wasn't able to speak in Tamil. In fact, Kanimoyi raised the issue saying that how valid is this question by a professional there who has come forward to ask her if she was Indian, a CISF personnel who says that if she can't speak Indian, if she can't speak Hindi, she can't be Indian. She's taken offense to that. She's taken to Twitter slamming this. The CISF personnel also have apologized eventually. Let's quickly cut across to Karthi Chidambaram there, who echoes her sentiment. Mr. Karthi Chidambaram, do tell us how do you perceive and receive this a CISF asks Kanimoyi to speak in Hindi, and because she couldn't, she questioned Kanimoyi about her being Indian or not.
Yeah, I really don't have a problem if a CISF officer does not speak English or Tamil who's being posted in Tamil Nadu. Okay, that I know it's an all-India service, and everybody is not expected to know all languages. But to question anybody, let alone be whether it's Kanimoyi who's a member of parliament or anybody, to say that you're not Indian if you do not speak Hindi is simply unacceptable. What are we having here? Are we having some sort of a new debit test in India? That to be an Indian, you need to fulfill certain criteria. You need to speak a certain language. Next, you need to be a certain religion. I mean, is that what we are moving towards? So that is what we find offensive. I don't have a problem if a security personnel does not speak the language of the state in which they are posted. I understand that. But for that person, the security personnel, to ask a passenger, I mean, the passenger could be whoever it might be, are you Indian because you don't speak Hindi? That is very, very offensive.
Mr. Karthi Chidambaram, we're looking at this debate raging on ever since independence. What do you think is really the reason why this hasn't really trickled down to the minds of all those policymakers who time and again ignore regions, especially the south of India, who's been crying foul that they've never included because their languages are never interpreted?
That is because that's how the politics is geared. If you win Hindi India, that's enough to rule India. Since the Hindi-speaking states have a clear majority, and particularly this government, draws its strength only from the Hindi-speaking states, they really do not have any kind of sensitivities to people who are not natural Hindi speakers or people who don't choose to speak Hindi. So that's the gearing of the politics of India, and this is a problem which people who are of minority persuasions, not only linguistically, otherwise, feel not only in this country but in many other countries in the world as well.
Well, in fact, Hindi is supposed to be a common language across of India after English. What's your sentiment on that? Why can't we have one unifying Indian language, and why can't that be Hindi?
I think we need to celebrate our diversity. There is no necessity to have this unitary definition of India. I think we have to accept the fact that we are a diverse nation and we are a diverse people with diverse linguistic flavors and practices, and we need to celebrate that, and rather to try to harmonize all of us into one.
There's also a Hindi Prachar Sabha, and where funds are collected for it, and even in the south that funds are collected for it. If people really want to learn Hindi, they will learn Hindi. What's the need of a Prachar Sabha, Hindi Prachar Sabha, where funds are allotted as well?
I have no problem.
Why can't there be a Tamil Prachar Sabha or a Kannada Prachar Sabha?
I'm sure there is a Tamil Sabha somewhere in North India where people who want to learn Tamil can go there. I have no problem if somebody wants to learn Hindi voluntarily, but that it cannot be made compulsory, and it definitely cannot be a test of your nationality. Your test of your nationality cannot be based on the fact that whether you speak a particular language or not. As I said, if you're going to start with this, what will it end up with? Will you say that anybody who say, I like Roger Federer as a tennis player, so because if I like a Swiss tennis player over an Indian tennis player, does it make me less Indian? I mean, where will we take this test forward? Then you will say that if you're not particularly of a particular religion, then you're not Indian. Where does it end? So, I mean, I have no problem if people want to learn a language. It's up to them. It's up to the parents to decide for children, and for adults, it's up to them to decide whether they want to learn a language or not. But learning a language and speaking a language simply can't be a test for your Indianness or your Indian nationality.
Well, Mr. Karthi, here we're also looking at the recent debate on the EIA, the Environmental Impact Assessment Draft, the Environmental Act, where languages are not being taken into consideration. Only the draft is dubbed only in English and Hindi, and there's a huge uproar down south about why this environmental law is not made available in regional languages for larger public participation. The government clearly says to the Supreme Court in its justification saying that they're not obliged to.
They're not obliged to because they do not want local area consent. You see, they want to push through projects which are completely opposed by local population. And without seeking local area consent, the government wants to give approval. And one way of not giving it local area consent is not to communicate the project in the local language, so nobody understands it. This is all the strong arm tactics of this majoritarian government which rules India currently.
Mr. Karti, last question here. What can be a quick remedy for more involvement of regional languages? Are we looking at something in the new education policy, some policy to rework on this language debate to satisfy through the length and breadth of the country, including the South, comprehensively?
I think the non-Hindi speaking states must form a confederation, and as a confederation within the union itself, to push for their linguistic rights and for their things. And it must be a non-partisan effort in which politicians and civil society from non-Hindi speaking states come together and speak about their concerns. There are some valid concerns they have about their languages getting obliterated, and they need to raise their voices and ensure that India remains a multicultural and a multilingual society.
Thank you so much, Mr. Karti Chidambaram, for joining us with those details. Well, you're looking at a language war, Hindi imposition hashtag, which Kanimozhi has put across. In fact, this has been doing the rounds for decades now. South of India, they're particularly saying that they feel disconnected considering the language barrier. Several policies, a lot of documentation, information not being dubbed in regional languages, which is leaving them sidelined. Here's a new flashpoint that's come about with Kanimozhi there being cornered by a CISF personnel who asked her if she was Indian only because she wasn't able to speak in Hindi. Kanimozhi raising the matter, CISF also apologizing for it, but it appears that Kanimozhi now taking up the issue on Twitter with a lot of support coming in from several of the opposition.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.